Once upon a time, the Assassin's Creed video game franchise ups a very successful Kickstarter campaign for a tabletop adaptation named Assassin's Creed Brotherhood of Venice, which after years of waiting finally reached backers last year. The game is cooperative for 1 to 4 players, who takes the role on the 4 assassins who have to help Ezio establish a new branch of Assassin Brotherhood in Venice and find a piece of Eden before the Templars do. The gameplay is a bit like the old computer game Commandos, where you have to plan your assassin's movement so that you can kill the guards without triggering any alarms and leave them off safely after completing the objective. Which is no coincidence, as Return North's previous game, We Commando, rebranded as We Sabotage, was de facto unlicensed adaptation of Commando in which you played as World War II era group of saboteurs, and from looks of it, the game shares some of the core mechanics. On the map, which is always set up for specific mission, you have one or more quests. Sometimes some are secret or even change during the game, couple of guards, an access point for the assassins, and a place where enemy reinforcements will come from the end or at the end of the round. The number is their number is random and also depends on whether or is alarm triggered or not. The alarm can be raised in 3 ways. The guards finds a dead body, encounter an assassin who must roll for detection tests on the dice to see if the guards notice him or he remains incognito, or during a fight in which you use some noisy weapons. If you kill if you kill someone with hidden blade, dagger, or shoot them with a bow, you won't raise an alarm. But if you take someone over the head with halberd or shoot him with pistol, you won't avoid the alarm even if you killed all the nearby enemies. All in all, these aren't groundbreaking mechanics. With great exaggeration, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood of Venice is purely about getting the characters to, run properly at the start of the game, checking which way the guards are moving, and then gradually taking them out and moving on to the mission objective. It's not overly complicated, but it's true that the simplicity is power and the game is incredible fun even without some complex mechanics, regardless of whether you play it safe from the shadows or try your looks and dice with sword in hand. In fact, the game can be played in 2 ways, just as well you can play it with video game Ezio 2 ways. Either you go stealthy approach and dodging guards and possibly killing them one by one, or going through the front door with solid weapon in hand and believing in the luck in the fight. It's not difficult either. Characters have lives, weapons have various bonus attributes, and most importantly, a given number of dice roll, which are just symbol 6-sided dice. It takes of health, so again, nothing really complicated. The variety of playstyle is also aided by choice of 4 characters that subtly guide the player on how to play them. Even in the single player mode, you have to take at least 2 assassins, but otherwise the game works in 2, 3, and 4 anyway, which only the number of enemy reinforcement and characters, for their special roles, will be on board. We have Claudio, who is true silent assassin with hidden blade bonuses thanks to his abilities. Alessandra, on the other hand, is walking tank with bonuses on health and combat. Bastiano has detection bonus and thus can be incognito for most of the game. And Daria doesn't excel basically at anything at herself, but is a great support character who returns action points on routine, can alter enemy movements, or influence the random event cards. In addition to their special abilities, which improve and increase as they level up, heroes also collect weapons and equipments that further deepen their playstyle. Role section and planning is most important at the beginning of the campaign when you need to act with real deliberation and not raise the alarm at any cost, which can be really deadly for the assassins at the low levels. In the middle of the campaigns, the game runs, in my opinion, at absolute best. You can already afford to make some mistakes because your experienced assassins can't survive them. You understand the game well and you know what to do to make the missions go clean, so to speak, without raising the alarm, the good way as any good assassin is supposed to do. Of course, the problem comes towards the end of the game when it ruins a bit of the bread in this regard, even though the developers try to spice the game with lots of surprises or bosses, but the progression through the game is still basically the same. You look to see where the enemies are, each round you check where the guards will move, and gradually get rid of them whenever upon you reach the mission objective. And so it goes on and go on. And if something goes wrong, it's, Well, and in the end game, it's not really a big deal because the two high-level assassins can handle it just fine. Well, at the beginning of the game, assassins have 3 lives, and the swords giving at most 2 damage per fight. By the end of the game, all have at least 7 lives and thick with 4 dices. Of course, the guards aren't left behind as they have 1 attack and 1 life in the first chapter, while by the end they have 4 attacks and 4 lives. But when Alessandra walks to the group of knights and tells them they are all instantly dead on the mediocre rolls, and she hasn't even used all of her special abilities, any fear or sense of tension basically disappears from the game, because you know that Bastiano is unlikely to be detected for the entire mission. Claudio silently takes all of the lone guards with his hidden blade, and when the things eventually go wrong or spots needs to be cleared, well, Alessandra just cuts loose and kill everybody. It's still fun, true, and it's quite possibly we were just exhausted by the game given that we completed the entire campaign designed for dozens of evenings in, well, single week. The main thing is that we are absolutely delighted after finishing the campaign, and the fact the game stumbles a bit in the endgame didn't spoil our overall impression of the campaign. In addition to the missions that form the core of each game, you will also spend time between maps on the base. This represents by the side game board, which is a sort of a mini game of its own, which take place between the missions where you assign tasks for your apprentice and allies, who will go shopping for gear, research schematics for new weapons, healing injured assassins, and stuff like that. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood of Venice features 26 missions in total, including 4 tutorial missions, 1 special secret mission that you might not even encounter, and 4 main character stories that are optional but deepen each character's background and unlocks the special equipment. Each game is roughly an hour long, some are quarter of or longer, some are shorter. So simple maths works that out you need something like 25 hours to complete the game. If you repeat some missions because you failed them and the game led you to continue your campaign even after the second failure, you can get to do some 40 to 40 hours of fun with 1 playthrough on the campaign. And well, add to that roughly 20 to 40 minutes to take unpack the game from the box each time. It's better to dedicate some gaming table to the game where it can lie quickly between the games. On the hand, it's great that for not a quite love of purchase price for the game, you get more than adequate experience for many fun-filled evenings, but on the other hand, it can also be drawback. Well, it's fine to play solo. Much of the fun lies in coordination or progress with your teammates, where together you devise a course of action through the map and then implement it, or well, you try to, but you can't command the dice. This means you need a dedicated teammate who will ideally meet with you regularly for a quite a longer time. And anyone who ever played a big campaign game or even some random Dungeons and Dragons game will know that this doesn't happen all by itself. You never know when Charles will have to go to his cousin's grandmother guinea pig funeral after all. The game keeps this in mind in theory and allows you to deploy assassin apprentices with no special abilities as spare slash free characters that can be equipped with spare armaments from the base, which after phase mission for few missions you will have an well enough to arm a smaller army. They also serve as filler characters in case an assassin dies on the mission and needs to spend some time in infirmary before the doctor can put him back. But you can also play them as characters for your missing friend, but it's tricky because both wounds and equipment, both permanent and disposable, transfer between missions, so you can find out that Charles is then annoyed that you threw away his throwing knives and used a parachute he has been saving for half of the game because he was too greedy to use them. At the same time, Charles lose parts of the story, so skipping is not really desirable. And if one of the players is not playing and you don't use the character, you logically don't have access to the grade. So think about whenever in 2-player game you would rather play as 2 character each. Yeah, de facto as the full Assassin's crew, which is my case, and it worked great for us when we played in 2 persons, each controlling 2 assassins. Apart from the time, the game is relatively space intensive. It deliberately pull out the tape measure when playing, and for the larger missions, you realistically need a table which is at least 150 to 80 centimeters. Converted to US measurements, that's dining table for family of at least 6 or room to stack 36 burgers. And preferably one of the two spare chairs where you put box of extra game components from which you will put out secret story cards and add other elements to the table. Not to mention, if God forbid you want to put a glass of drink on the table or anything. But despite this minor criticism, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood of Venice is an incredibly fun game that also does a great job of capturing the essence of the source material. It makes you really feel like you are playing real Assassin's Creed and not just some board game that bought license to sell better. The artwork on the cards and components is also beautiful and stylish, fitting the styles of the source and looking like it was, well, taken from the Ezio trilogy art book. So, we are at the end, and my verdict for the game? Well, even though the Assassin's Creed Brotherhood of Venice is not one of the cheapest games, it will last you for several dozens of hours of fun. And while it doesn't have any never before seen or revolutionary mechanics in its repertoire, it works great together and would have been fun even without the license. With that said, it's a great addition to the Assassin's Creed franchise that is must have for all its fans, Ezio fans, and, well, PvE co-op gamers. It has exactly what Assassin's Creed should have. Tactical planning, sneaking, parkour, twists and turns, good story, and a couple of silently killed enemies. As Ezio Auditore da Firenze would say, molto bene.